second part of our press conference, this time with our coach, Julian Nagelsmann. This is going to be the final round of questions and interviews. Upper row, Thomas for Skype. Julian, we've heard a lot of discussions, 3 defensives or 4 defensive players. When we listened to Thomas, we all had the impression that everybody relies on Stani. So could you tell us, have you made the final decision yet? Not yet, but I think he's going to play. He has some problems on the hamstring, but he's quite reliable. He knows what to do. He knows what he is capable of. He puts that onto the pitch. He's very quick. He has good ideas. He's a good player. He does not exaggerate on his position. He knows what we expect of him. If within the last 2 games, he was a little weak in the beginning, but then quite strong for the rest of the game. And the fact that we cannot benefit from Pavard gives him a great chance. Mr. Nagelsmann, Mbappe will play from the beginning. Neymar won't. How does that change your tactical lineup if one of these 3 players of Paris does not participate? Well, of course, it changes a little bit because in the first leg game, our pressing was quite impressive, but then we could not create enough pressure. Then they succeeded a goal against us, which is irrelevant for our analysis, but it took us too long to get into our order, our structure, and then it took us too long to strike. So we have to press them in a way that they cannot pass enough. If you look at Paris' order with Mbappe and Messi, who play in between the lines, of course, a 37-year-old striker is not that quick anymore, so it's very important to avoid passes to Messi and not to let him attack too much. We'll need patience for that. We should not be too aggressive against the ball if it's not possible. And then I think we cannot defend everything. But we have Yann within the goal, and we can create our own chances. So it's going to be an open game. Guten Tag. What is your approach to Sadio Mane ever since he has been back from his injury? Well, he's getting ever more rhythm. I think he's not going to be there from the beginning, but the decision has not been made yet. It also depends on Choupo-Moting, but in global, we're quite happy to see him back. And tomorrow, players from the bench will be quite important. So we'll have to decide that tomorrow. What will we need? Danger of goal or stability? So he can always decide a match coming from the bench. Mr. Nagelsmann, you said you will assume responsibility for matches that you lose, but you also want to participate in victories. How much is this going to be a coach duel tomorrow? Well, this is very rare to see in football, that it's a duel between coaches. You can contribute to a good match with a good preparation, with a match plan which is not too complicated. What they know, what they have been knowing for weeks, not too many system changes in advance to a match. I think many times players are obliged to play with a system they don't like. So it's about preparing them with things that make sense. I don't like the fact that sometimes it's been said that players have commented negatively on a match plan. It's not going to be a duel of coaches, but of two top teams with two coaches who try their very best. So I hope we're going to get the cake tomorrow. I hope I'll have a bite. The defense of PSG avoids a lot of goals, but not all of them. Is that a weakness of PSG, their defense? I wouldn't say weakness, but I'd say they have a clear characteristic, which I don't want to tell you now, because it regards our match plan. So they're quite quick with the counter attack, but we have ideas to hurt them. It's not going to be only defense, and we will not concentrate on their stars. So it's about getting our players in the best position and to be dangerous. Yann Sommer knows Champions League, but not that much attention as here in Munich. Do you think it's good that he had an introduction within the last two Bundesliga games? Yes, he is not as occupied now within the goal as he has been with his last two teams. At Bayern, he has to work less during a match. He also has to participate as a player. He has to be there for his teammates. He has suffered 2 goals, but it was not his fault, and I think ever more rhythm is going to be very good for him. Let us address the first leg game. Do you think when Kylian Mbappe came onto the pitch, did that have a psychological effect on his teammates, but also on your players? Well, we were prepared for him to come onto the pitch. Of course, it has an effect for PSG, also for us, because it changes their characteristics. He's one of the best strikers in the world with incredible weapons. And that changes your game as well. He's going to play from the beginning on tomorrow, so that's what we can expect. But then you cannot defend everything against him. If you want to, you have to do that as a team. At your side. Mr. Nagelsmann, after the first leg game, Thomas Müller has been asked about Mbappe, and he said, well, he did not succeed too much. Was that your opinion as well? Well, a lot is being said about Mbappe. He had 3 very good actions. 2 were offside, but we want to create chances for us. That's how we want to defend. We want to defend offensively. 2 more questions. Julian, you've just talked about injured players or players not in their best form. Has there been anything new? No, everybody is in a good condition. Stunny has suffered a little hit against Stuttgart, but both of them are in a good condition. They participated in a warm-up training today, So I haven't heard anything. Everybody is with the squad. So we can nominate more for the squad in the Champions League. That's quite good.
Yesterday I visited your hometown of Issing.
Wow.
They are all proud of you. They all wish you luck. And I was wondering, as a young kid growing up there, did you ever imagine that you'd be sitting here at such a young age before such a big match? And how big is this match for you at this stage of your career?
I do not really imagine that I could be a manager sitting in front of you before a Champions League game. When you walk through Issing, it's a village with, I don't know, 700 people. 700, not 1,000. But with a good club, FC Issing, and I joined the football club as soon as possible when I was 3 years old, and I could imagine to sit here in front of you as a player, but not as a manager. It's an important game for me as well. It's one of my biggest wishes to be the winner of the Champions League with my team, so we have to go in the next round, and tomorrow we have the chance to do this.
Dann die letzte Frage bitte, Heiko Niederer für Bild.
A lot has been discussed about systems, 3 defensive or 4 defensive players. You were quite flexible even with the possession of the ball. Could you explain us how important this flexibility is against a team that consists of Messi and Neymar? Well, in the day-to-day life of Bundesliga, flexibility is not as important as any decisive game in Champions League, because these are situations, these are matches that end after 90 minutes, and so flexibility is something you have to learn, you have to train for, that you have to try to integrate into the squad. We have had these switches between 3 and 4 defensive players within the last 1.5 years. We have defended with a straight 4, and in the possession of the ball we switched to a 3. We have prepared for a lot more things tomorrow, depending on our opponent. But it's not about statistics, it's not about numbers, it's about how can you get past 2 strikers, how can you get to this area, how can you get to this space, how can you get rid of your opponent in certain situations of the match. Many of them try to defend on a 1-to-1 basis, others try to oblige them to the midfield, to push them to the midfield. We have prepared against Berlin, and then we had to look for solutions. How can you get that flexible within the straight 4? Paris has quite a specific behavior in when they defend, when they have pressure against the ball and when they don't. So it's about trying to get our players into their best positions so they can create chances, and it's not too much about these horrible statistics that I always have to listen to. We are prepared to play both of it, 3 or 4 defensive tomorrow. We can switch. Thank you very much to all of you. See you tomorrow.